से नैन मिलाऊं सजना कैसे, मैं ऐसे ना घबराऊं सजना कैसे, आए ना ऐसे मोहे लाज सजना, छूना ना देखो मोहे आज सजना।
मृग नैनी तू न जाने प्रेम कितना मेरे मन में है, ये बेचैनी मांगती है रूप जो तेरे यौवन में है। तेरा फूल सा है अंग तेरे अंग में है, रंग तेरे रंग के मैं संग को दिए, तेरे रंग में है रूप तेरे रूप में है धूप।
कैसे नैनों से नैन मिलाऊं सजना कैसे।
Good morning and welcome. Welcome to Let It Be Known. Brought to you by the March on PAC, the women-led PAC that is seeking to save democracy and pick the strongest Democratic candidates for office. Also, the Bell Project continue to support them. They have helped tens of thousands of families reunite and continue to fight the cash bail system. Go to bellproject.org to learn more and to support them. That was your FBI director. That was your. Does that tell you the state of the FBI? That was Cash Patel. Apparently, well, I think they claimed that his private emails were hacked. Nonetheless, they were released. At least that was released, and that one was by a number of outlets vetted as authentic. So, just thought, oh my gosh, this is what Cash Patel does. And someone commented that they understand now why, I think it was D.L. Hughley, why he enjoyed going into the men's locker room at the Olympics. Cash Patel. Oh gosh. Another appointee who has absolutely no business, who appears to have no business being near any type of leadership role in any government, let alone the United States of America. But that's a discussion for another day, right? Oh gosh. We start this morning with the disturbing video out of Alabama. Some may have seen it by now. Maybe some have not, but it is absolutely disturbing. It's what these police officers will continue to do is just mind-boggling, even with the cameras rolling. Perhaps they didn't even know cameras was rolling, but the family and community members say they're seeking answers and justice after their loved one. And you saw him being dragged there on the concrete by officers. He was taken into custody by Monroeville Police Department. And this video was taken around March 30th at about 2:30 p.m. 35-year-old Amarin Tunstall was being dragged by two officers. And according to dispatch records at 3:03 p.m., medical crews were sent to the Monroe County Detention Facility to treat this man, who was reported to be unresponsive with a faint pulse. At 3:50 p.m., at the request of the Monroeville Police Department, the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency State Bureau of Investigations launched a formal in-custody death investigation. During the course of the incident, he had become unresponsive, and emergency personnel administered naloxone, commonly known as Narcan, which is a nasal spray used to revive someone who has overdosed on opioids. He was transported to a local hospital where he was later pronounced dead. His family says that they were notified about his death at around 7 p.m. His cousin, Selena Thomas, says that she witnessed officers pulling him from a wooded area behind the housing complex, that he was on his knees. And she says she asked officers if she could speak with him, and they told her no. She asked if she could give her phone number, and they told her no. She said, I called his name, and he didn't respond. They threw him in the back of the police car, face down. His family says he was pepper sprayed and tased multiple times. They say that he could be heard screaming before officers dragged him. And here's the part that when you see incidents like this, that they always ignore and miss, particularly when it comes to African Americans and other people of color. This man, Mr. Tunstall, was a father, a brother, and he was somebody's son. They treated him like a garbage bag. No matter what crime he may have committed at that time or alleged to have committed, because again, officers do not or should not be the judge, the jury, even the prosecutor. But they judged him and they executed him, apparently. At least their actions apparently either caused or helped cause his demise. Monroeville, Alabama. I've been to Monroeville, Alabama once. I'm not a fan of Alabama or Mississippi. Or used to look at the move on Alabama. Those cops will not be charged. And that is the travesty. But I go back to family members' comment, last comment there. This man was a father, a brother, a son. In other words, he was human. And that is what's always missing when it comes to this to the racism, to the police brutality. Dr. Nicole says, no, unfortunately, that is not the video I had already seen, and I thought you were about to play. That just means that there's another disturbing video out there now. No surprise. It's exhausting. Shaking my head. Yep. Yeah, and you make a great point. Dr. Nicole makes a great point because there are so many. It's just about every day. Because I don't always use them. I don't always even talk about it because it is just so you just it's overwhelming. And I know you have to, not that you have to, but there are times when these things have to be raised up. And what happened down in Alabama and Monroeville is absolutely unforgivable. And even his relatives having to watch as they drag this man the way they did. And we keep seeing it. We thought, at least there was a thought that after Rodney King, is that there was the first time we really had video that these things would lessen. And there was a thought that once they started putting body cams on these cops, it would stop, or at least tamper down. Once everyone realized that there is video everywhere, they say Big Brother's watching, there's video everywhere. And you figure, okay, that should help stem this a little bit. But it seems like it's only gotten worse. And it has gotten worse because now you have laws in place. Now you have policies in place in which it's okay. It's encouraged. It's celebrated. And of course, Black folks thought the George Floyd reckoning was going to be the turning point. I gotta tell you, I was, and you probably those who have watched regularly have probably heard me say this several times. I Not that I'm proud of this, but I knew that that was not the case when it in the moment, that it was not the case, that it was not going to change, that things were gonna revert back and perhaps even get worse. I didn't say all that, but I said, "This is." No, it has. I was told, "Oh, you're wrong. You know, this Black Lives Matter thing is global now, and as you see all the protests, white folks protesting, all these folks protesting along with black folks. And so these companies, we talk about Target, these companies were going to uh, revert back to the mean. It was like, Murphy's Law. I kept saying it. And here we are. You had the whole Target fast, Target boycott that's still going on, which I still say, what about Walmart and the other ones? But that's up to y'all. RNG says, I think opposite of the Rodney King beating, the jury said it's okay to beat, shoot, and kill unarmed black people on video. A cop has a 97% chance of being found not guilty if he is charged. That's exactly right. And so you're right. And so my thought on Rodney King was, okay, I did think that that would change, but you're right. The jury, no, it wasn't a civil jury, criminal jury found those guys not guilty, which gave them that license. Oh, we can get away with it even on video. Dr. Nicole says it will not stop until they are held accountable, and not just by the law, but by each other. There are too many officers who still protect and cover for the bad actors. Major police reform is needed. It's so, so true. It is the only profession, other than, we'll talk about this later in the show, Major League Baseball and umpires and the NBA and referees, where you just are not really, and weather people, not held accountable for being bad. But the most important profession, where you're not held accountable and covered up and protected for being the worst, is police. And that's unfortunate, because you got a lot of good cops, but you got too many bad ones. And even in journalism, like, you write something, at least it used to be, even journalism has changed. I work for the LA Times Community News Division, the Daily News of Los Angeles, Gannett. You did something stupid, your colleagues was like, they'd be on you. "Hey, what you doing? Are you crazy?" But police officers, and you see it depicted in TV shows about police and movies about, they're just this blue wall, which is so stupid. You'd think that officers, their job is hard enough. You say, wait a minute, we can't allow this. Our job is hard enough. But no, the union is going to stand behind regardless of what they do, which really says a whole lot about the union. It's great to have a strong union, but I'd rather have a union that is going to say to the rank and file, "Yo, we're not supporting that. We're not backing that. You're on your own." And of course, we know one of the biggest things is qualified immunity. You get rid of that, you get rid of a good number of this issue, which people have been talking about for years. Qualified immunity. And why do you think officers fight so hard to keep it? This stuff. This stuff right here. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Then let's switch our gears to another part of law enforcement. And none of us, a growing number of folks, just continue to have issues with. It's ICE. Well, a growing coalition of high-profile celebrities, including Madonna, Pedro Pascal, Mark Ruffalo, Kiki Palmer, and others, are putting renewed pressure on ICE by backing an open letter to shut down a controversial ICE detention facility in Texas. The letter, which is still live on change.org, targets the Dilley Immigration Processing Center, a family detention site that has faced immense scrutiny over alleged conditions for the children and adults held there. Children and adults, folks. Public figures, medical professionals, and advocates alike have signed the open letter calling for the facility's immediate closure and more reforms to the detention of migrant families. The letter reads, no child should be locked in an immigration detention center. Children held in immigration detention endure trauma, neglect, and conditions that violate basic standards of health, safety, dignity, and human rights. The harms of detaining children are known and well documented. Court filings of abuse against children have included refusals to provide clean water, rotten food contaminated with worms, dangerous medical neglect, sleep deprivation, denial of legal counsel, the separation of children from their families, and retaliation against families protesting the inhumane conditions. They say children belong in schools and on playgrounds, not in detention centers. Yeah, and that's the other. You put the kids in these prisons, these detention centers, and not only do you do that, they're so ice cold. To use that phrase, ice, right? In their hearts, they separate them from their parent. At least put them with their parents. You shouldn't have them in there in the first place. And many of the parents, it's been proven, many of the people that they put in there don't belong in there either. But yet, anybody who, this is all you need to know about any government official, any politician. If you are willing to treat children, I don't care what nationality that child is, baby, if you're treating them, I can only imagine how you treat your own family, your own kids, your own grandkids. You cannot tell me that they are the ideal parent, grandparent, uncle, aunt. Can't tell me that. It's like somebody who would, kick a dog or shoot a dog or harm it or a cat. They'll do the same to a human. The dog or the cat, the animal is just practice. It's just carrying out what they really are, who they really are. There's no question in my mind about that. And I'm not a mental health professional, but or a psychiatrist in any way, but that's what they say too. That a person who do that to the animal will do that to a human. So that is that's about the size of it, really. Now, speaking of ICE and the media, how about the fact that Reuters, the Reuters news service, they are in bed with ICE, apparently. They have long provided, it's been revealed that they have long provided underlying personal data for immigration and customs enforcement's tools. And there are also, according to 404 Media, indication that its data is now part of the Palantir system that ICE uses to find which neighborhoods to target. So Reuters news service is all in this. They say that the data between Reuters and ICE includes them selling names to ICE, addresses, car registration information, social security numbers, and details on someone's ethnicity. And guess what, y'all? It's all under the brand name Clear. You have pre-check and you have global entry and then you have Clear. Mm. Now, journalists at Reuters reportedly sent leadership a signed letter that expressed their unease with the company's ICE and Homeland Security contracts. Oh God, Dr. Nicole says these are not criminals. These are people who cross man-made borders into a country that most likely used to be theirs, seeking work, food, and shelter for their families. Exactly. And, well, here's the thing. What was it like 90% of folks since this administration began their roundup of folks, about 90%, a little bit more than 90%, none of them have criminal records. And I think even a good portion of those, 80 something percent of those, are citizens. Let that sink in. It's simply because just to put it plain, they're not white. That's just the bottom line. That's the bottom line. They are being targeted. It's that whole racial profiling that we've talked about forever. And now it's a thing where Homeland Security, ICE, is doing this now with everybody. You are if you're not white, they're checking into you. And that's just the bottom line. Hey, got a programming note. Tomorrow, Warren Thompson will join the program. He is the founder, owner of Thompson Restaurants. You see him, speaking of airports, all in airports. And they're doing great. Black owned. He just announced a 12% year-over-year growth. And now they have expansion plans for this year and next year. They plan to have 100 locations next year. So we're going to talk to Warren Thompson tomorrow. So you might want to tune in. Thompson Restaurants, Thompson Hospitality. Look them up, folks. It's a great business, and you see them at all the airports. So should be fun. Should be a nice conversation, just to hear how this young man became so successful and how is he able to maintain it even now, as we talk about this assault on minorities, and particularly minorities. we'll we'll leave it at that. Now I'm going to switch gears to, again, how about this, folks? Oh, don't be afraid. A woman who had sexual relations with identical twins 4 days apart has been told that it is not possible to identify which one is the father of her baby. The mother, who cannot be named for legal reasons, and one of the twins, took the case to court after the other brother was named as the father on the child's birth certificate. The pair launched the legal action as they wanted to be legally recognized as having parental responsibility for the baby, known as Child P. Family court judge declined to remove the name of the alleged father on the birth certificate, which prompted the woman and the other twin to take the case to the Court of Appeals in London. But a panel of judges there have now ruled it is not possible to know for sure who the father is. The court heard that DNA testing could not distinguish which of the men was the father, although scientists may potentially be able to do so in the future. But the court did rule that the twin on the birth certificate would no longer have parental responsibility until the court hears further arguments. Unbelievable. Y'all have to chime in on that one. The idea of First of all, I don't know, the idea of sleeping with uh, someone who's related like that too. I mean, they're twins, they're brothers, but I can't imagine. Today I'm with this woman, and 2 days, 3 days later, I'm with her sister. Nah, that's just and then obviously you're having unprotected relations with both within a couple of days span. What kind of and this is in London, so I guess they got what kind of backwoods Alabama trailer park craziness is this? Unbelievable. So apparently the woman and one of the brothers want to be recognized. The woman and one of the brothers want to be recognized as the father, and the other brother's like, wait a minute, what about me? Uh-oh. Dr. Nicole says a crude joke came to mind. Either she was tricked or she is a trick. Woo. Just people and their behaviors, especially today, not to excuse 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago either. But are you kidding me? Eddie Murphy once joked, if you ever saw his Delirious special back in what, I want to say 83. He always joked about, I mean, he joked in there about, sexually transmitted disease is it was going to graduate. The point was it was going to graduate to a point where you're just gonna your genitals, to put it lightly, was just gonna fall off immediately when you're in the throes of having relations. He didn't say it like that, right? but you get the point. He said, you just, the moment you consummate, boom, it's gonna explode and fall off, and you're gonna die right there. Michelle Madison said, wouldn't that make them fraternal twins? The way they're fraternizing. It's this bizarre behavior, especially, again, come on. You don't, listen, I am not going to judge nobody, for what, who they choose to, or how many times they choose to. That is strictly their business or whatever, but the idea that you're out there just, as they say, raw, it's just crazy. I think people are convinced that no matter what they might catch, including HIV, because HIV now is very, very livable, that they could just get a shot, they'll be okay. But why would you even want to have to worry about something like that? They have, listen, you go to Walgreens, Rite Aid, CVS, and you walk past a counter, and all they got is stuff for cover up, insert, or whatever. Michelle says that's crazy nonetheless. I listen, I am certainly don't want to sound like lecturing people on what they do or what. I just want answers that why people feel so free to not cover up, wrap it up, that you don't know the baby father. And not only that you don't know the baby father, which, it happens, but within a couple of days, you with the twin brother? Wow. It's just like that OnlyFans porn actress, whatever her name is, that they've been talking about, like with 1,000 men, and now she's pregnant, and she's they're doing this whole thing where they're doing DNA tests. It's like, they're doing a reality show. just to find out who is she says the lucky dad, but common sense says the very disgusting and unlucky dad. Give me a break. This is absolutely insane. Yeah. Yesterday I was talking about the Russell Simmons case, and one of the things that always have stood out was his taking 9 polygraph examinations by a world famous polygraph expert and passing all of them. Well, now comes this. And in Utah, folks, they have for years allowed government officials to do something other states had banned, and that is ask a person who reports a sexual assault to take a polygraph test, which on the face of it is just kind of crazy to ask a victim to take a polygraph test. But now that's changing. Earlier this month, state lawmakers, or last month, I should say, passed a bill that now prohibits police and other government officials from requesting polygraph tests for alleged sex assault victims. Governor Spencer Cox signed it into law, and it goes into effect May 1st. Many experts say that these tests are known to be especially unreliable with victims of sexual abuse. That's because victims may have stress and anxiety recounting their assault that the polygraph may interpret as deception. Other states don't allow them to be used with assault victims for that reason alone. But it took 2 years and 3 legislative sessions for Utah State Rep. Angela Romero, the House Minority Leader, to get the bill across the finish line. She first sponsored it 2 years ago. 2024. She cited reporting about the damaging effects polygraph tests can have on people who are reporting sexual abuse. There was one case in particular that was covered by various news outlets where state licensors had asked a man to take a polygraph test after he reported that his therapist, a guy named Scott Owen, had touched him inappropriately. Well, the test results indicated that he was being deceptive, and that led to them dropping the complaint. Well, Scott Owen was allowed to continue to practice for 2 more years until many others started coming forward with similar allegations. Scott Owen, is now in prison after he admitted that he sexually abused his patients. It's a crazy world, folks. Going back to the last story, Dr. Nicole says, I do not know the story, but seriously, if they are identical, they're talking about the twins and the woman who had the baby, then they could have purposely deceived her. So that's a possibility. That is a possibility. But I mean, man, I am just not understanding how people are just not protecting themselves in this crazy world that that we live in. Yeah, you know, multiple partners, that's your business. It's definitely your business. But then you get situations like this. Why didn't you? Yeah, I guess it's too late to ask why, right? Woo. Man, oh man, oh man. Terrible. So speaking of terrible, now I want y'all thoughts on this. For sure. Inappropriate. Now, I wasn't going to even bring this up, but the woman that sent up this that people have been all over her socials and in person because of this. He was again.
What? My divorce. How about that?
I mean, come on. There's allegedly that's the husband. Supposedly that's the husband right there in that freeze frame, watching as his wife is all. Now, what happened? Of course, footage from one of his recent performances went viral, showing him singing his classic song "Take You Down," where he famously pulls a member from the audience for stuff like this. And in the video, the woman could be seen, as you see, reclining on a red couch as he danced on top of her. And she grabbed his face, and then she stuck her tongue in his mouth. And you saw the husband. And many people chimed in. They called it disrespectful. Some called it utterly disgusting. One person wrote, "I feel for this guy. Pouring your heart out into someone, for that to happen blatantly, it tears a man down. He will never be the same. Stay strong, brother." And a second person said, "Yeah, no, that's cheating. It doesn't matter who it is, celebrity or not, it's cheating." Well, some defended the woman, saying, "Y'all take life too seriously." This one person said, "Y'all take life too seriously. It's a moment she will never have again." Well, isn't that the shame of it all? And according to Hoops Crave, the woman who is not, we don't know her name yet, she posted to X that it was just a friendly kiss. She says, "I didn't cheat. I just got carried away." She says she just got carried away. Dr. Nicole says that was out of line. They're doing way too much. I feel bad for her husband and for his girlfriend too. Yes, it is disrespectful. And yeah, people forget about that part. Chris Brown is supposedly in a serious relationship himself, right? Now, I'm not in no way defending him, but his girlfriend also knows that this happens at all his concerts. Is she okay with that? Maybe she's okay with that. She's beefing with his ex-girlfriend now anyway. Clearly the man, her husband was not okay. Clearly he was not okay. But and again, it's not. Do you blame Chris Brown? It seems like Chris Brown gets blamed for everything. Now, of course, he took part in this, but he appeared to pull back when she put her tongue in his mouth. He appeared to pull back. Or maybe that's all part of the song he had to pull back to sing. I don't know. But that she got up there was crazy to some. But the whole idea, okay, the little dance or whatever, but it's the tongue part that she initiated, that she did. That was crazy work. Unless, of course, she told her husband pre-show perhaps he got the tickets. It was in the front row. Perhaps it doesn't matter who got the tickets, but they're in the front row. You know what goes down, honey. And she may have told him, if he pulls me up there, you okay with that? And he could have said something to the effect of, hey, enjoy yourself. This is what we're here for you to enjoy yourself. Because chances are she wanted to see Chris Brown more than he wanted to see Chris Brown. Another thing, right? And Dr. Nicole, is not, you can't say that Chris knew she was married. He may or may not have known she was married, but he likely did know she was there with someone. Okay. You think so? You think that because a lot of single women, or a lot of women, I don't have to say single women, a lot of women go with their homegirls and there's whatever, unless her ring stands out. But I'm gonna tell you, for those who may not know, and I have been on stages where you can't really see. You oftentimes you hear artists will ask for the house lights. They'll say house lights so they can actually see the audience. They can't see you. Now they can see you in the first couple of rows, maybe the second row, up to the second row. But those lights are strong up there. You can't see the audience. You know that there's a big audience out there. If it's a small audience too, but you can't see past really the first or second row. And so it could be that he knew. Yeah, it looks like the husband was right there by the stage, right? But once again, are you processing it? You're Chris Brown, you're performing, you got your dancing going on, you got the dancers and the background singers and the musicians, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and you get the noise. And are you processing that there's a couple there? That's a lot to process when you got your job to do. And again, it's not excusing him, Dr. Nicole. It's not excusing him, but it is a very plausible thing. If you've ever been on a concert stage, you will know that you cannot see past maybe the second row. Not on just on look. You have to really try. You have to make an effort. Then you can probably see a little further. He says, and I am sure someone, if not Chris, in his security chose exactly who comes up there. I'm sure of that too. I mean, look, this is from the pictures I've seen of her. She's a very attractive woman, and these guys are not gonna just choose. You're right, security. Uh, they're not gonna just choose, a plain Jane or somebody they think is a plain Jane. Very true. Discriminatory, right? Ugly girls need love too. Plain Janes need love too. Christus, they know it. And it's true because you hear it. I mean, if you've been around anybody in that industry, and you've heard reports of R. Kelly, his crew, they knew exactly what he liked. Which they all should be in jail with him because they knew exactly what he liked. Don't bring no 20-some-odd-year-old woman up on here. You better bring me a teen. That's R. Kelly. Dr. Nicole is adamant, and they will know who is with them. They knew she was there as a couple. It's an ego thing for the artist. Let's be real. That's true. I can't argue with that either. And it could be also Dr. Nicole, as she dissects everything, y'all. It could be that whoever picks them, the security guard, maybe they had an issue with the man. Maybe they wanted to. Maybe they wanted to embarrass him or him to be embarrassed. It's a lot of could be's there, right? But yeah, Chris Brown. First of all, this obsession with these celebrities is just over the top. It's over the top. This willingness to do whatever. And you remember what's Corinne Steffens? Yeah, she's certainly not a Girl Scout. She's certainly not anybody to look up to, in my view, anyway. But when back then when they were trashing her, they all do it. They will do whatever for a celebrity. Women and men alike will do anything. So it's just like, come on, y'all. This woman got to go back to her life now. But the thing about it is, too, the other part of this, Dr. Nicole, want to dissect this part, they do stuff. Somebody like her may have done this so that they can get the clout. They can get they can go viral. And then you go viral now. All of a sudden, you become Real Housewives of whatever, or some sort of celebrity, and then you start making money. So many nobodies out there. So I shouldn't say nobodies. I hate that term. So many people who you didn't know, who was not celebrities, became celebrities because they went viral. A great example has always been that Cash Me Outside chick who became a rapper. So and look at the Oprah had the woman on the show last month from the Coldplay incident. Why are you on Oprah? We don't need to know anything more about you. That's what today's society does. So it's certainly a situation where this woman may have seen an opportunity to go viral. Because Wiles, I don't know that anybody else, at least I haven't seen any reports of it. It could have happened, but I don't know anybody else when Chris had him up there decided to put their tongue in his mouth. So she could very well, she is at least as guilty, probably at least in my view, more guilty than Chris Brown in this. All right. It's amazing. I'm not a Chris Brown fan. I don't dislike Chris Brown. I feel like Chris Brown is probably one. He's maligned too much. Folks have held against him. I love Rihanna, but folks have held that against him all his life. He was a child, basically. Dr. Nicole says, you're right. You never know who's seeking likes and clout for their social media platforms nowadays. But, people need to leave Chris Brown alone. I've been saying that for a long time. Leave that man alone. Let him live his life. Now, he does stupid stuff without question, but we all do. And he's still, listen, young, talented, famous, and wealthy. It's a lethal combination. It's a very lethal combination. I'm going to stay with entertainment for this interesting little story here. So Brandy has been hot lately. She's got her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, of course. She's been in the spotlight with the recent successful tour with Monica. Now she has a book that's coming out. And the talk of the book is the passage about her and Wanye Morris of Boyz II Men, whom, despite his claims that they dated when Brandy was, quote, of age, she reveals that she was only 16 when she lost her virginity to him and was taken advantage by him, according to Brandy. She says, the shame ends here. The silence ends here. She says, I was not a fast girl with a crush. I was not a dramatic teenager who couldn't handle rejection. I was not an unstable, obsessive fan. She says, I was a child and he was an adult. And it's time the world understood the difference. Brandy said Wanye would compare her to other singers like Mariah Carey. But ultimately, they broke up after he admitted that he had been cheating on her. And she was a child. In fact, she had gone to prom with Kobe Bryant, and she talked a little bit about that while this situation with Wanye was going on. She said, she had to hide from her parents. Her parents would have hit the roof if they knew she was dating at 16. But she said Wanye, in her view, pretended to be interested, in her music and in her talents. And she fell for it. Dr. Nicole says, sounds like she's trying to sell that book and it will definitely sell. But she says Wanye was in his 20s, early 20s, and she was just 16. She says he was an adult and I was a child. And yet that didn't stop them from, and they had cut some records together. Ah, wow. That has to be this revelation. It's not good for boys to men. It's I just don't understand these celebrities. Yeah, I get that they want what they want and they're not used to hearing no, or nothing should be off limits to them according to them. But 16, you in your 20s, come on. That's R. Kelly stuff. It's probably why R. Kelly was able to get away with what he got away with for so long. It's absolutely insane. That is that's some R. Kelly stuff. I want to go to sports because sports, I don't know. It used to be that thing where you get away from it all. But I want to. So you see this graphic right here. This is what one of the things that in many purists view, including myself, is ruining and has ruined the NBA, and I'll stay with the NBA before I head over to Major League Baseball. But Shay or Shy, I don't know, is it Shay or Shy? Gilchrist Alexander, SGA. So the last couple of games, first they played the New York Knicks. He shot 25 free throws in that game. The Knicks as a team only shot 16. I think it was yesterday they played the Detroit Pistons. He shot 23 free throws in that game. The Pistons as a team only shot 17. And then you get stuff like this. This is the thing. This is this guy. And he's practicing foul baiting. And he look, and this is why in one game I think he went. Look at this. Is that a foul? This is why the NBA is in shambles. And he won MVP last year. I think this disqualifies him as any MVP. It very well should. I mean, look, and then I think there's another one. Yeah. Okay. So those are the free throws. And here's some more. I mean, and then you get this stuff. This referee is another reason. It's not just Shay or Shy, SGA. This guy gets a technical foul because he asked his coach. He asked his coach to challenge the call. You are allowed to challenge calls. And they go back. You see the call. He says he got all ball and he's doing his hand, and he calls a tech. What is up with that? And I'm gonna go to Major League Baseball while I'm here on this thread here because I want to. Oh, this is SGA again. They call the foul on the defender there. These are not fouls. He's initiating the contact and he's throwing his elbow and everything else. It's just disgusting. So I want to move over to. I thought it was here, where I guess I'll find it for you. But this Major League Baseball umpire is really Major League Baseball instituted a new form of protest to strike and ball calls where you could actually and here we go. You got to see this, folks. This umpire, and I'm going to hold it there for a second, this play, to explain to you that the umpire who makes this call, a guy named C.B. Buckner, now they have this challenge system where you throw the pitch, the batter or the pitcher or the catcher can, within 2 seconds, can challenge the call. And this guy in one game missed, I think they said it was 57 calls. Got them wrong 57 times. 57. And now this play, you have to see this play. Safer out. It's probably to the naked eye is going to be an easy call. Safer out, y'all. And the umpire is not even looking at the play. You might have guessed he called him out. Yes. Where did the ball wind up, folks? He called him out. He called him out. And they had to use replay to overturn the call. But this is the state of Major League Baseball, the NBA. This is why they say, oh gosh, how do we get fans back? Well, you stop doing, you bring back the way, so you can't fix what's not broken. It wasn't broken before. It wasn't broken. And now with all these new rules and the umpires and the referees are absolutely, they're absolutely atrocious, and they get to keep their jobs. We were talking about police officers and others. I got to show you another crazy example, folks. I got to show you this because you wouldn't believe it if you had just told it. Because I wouldn't have believed it if I was just told it. But 3 strikes, you're out, right? 3 strikes, you're out. Look at this.
So it's just really.
You got strike 1. You got strike 1. I want you to pay attention here. There's strike 2. He scores. The batter's still up. 2 strikes, right? You saw 2 swings and misses. I'm going to let it play out for you. It's very alarming to me because I'm, a long-time baseball fan, long-time basketball fan, long-time sports fan, like most of you. And showing the replay on strike 2, batter steals the base, ball gets away, runner scores from third, runner advances to third, 2 strikes. Just keep that in mind as we see. That's the other thing baseball does. There's like 100 replays. Strike 3, right? You just saw strike 3. He's still at the plate, y'all. He's still at the plate. Now, this is not just on the umpire, right? It can't. Isn't somebody keeping count? Foul ball. Isn't somebody keeping count? He's already struck out. Nobody in the park? The opposing team? The managers? The catcher who's there for the strikes? What's happening here? Eventually, he walks. They call ball 4 and he walks. Folks, the officiating in Major League Sports is horrible. But nobody's paying attention on that play right there with the Houston Astros against the Boston Red Sox. They say hell in the handbasket. That's where it's all going, folks. Oh, boy. Warren Thompson joins us tomorrow, folks. You want to join in Thompson Hospitality's Black-owned business that you see throughout airports. They are thriving. We're going to talk to Warren Thompson tomorrow. Thanks for watching.
Let's go! Let's go, Flav. Hey!